In this video, we'll continue with intervals and we'll explore sixths and sevenths. And keep in mind that before you get into sixths and sevenths, it's really crucial that you understand how to do everything else that came before it. So all the way up through the fifths, through perfect fifths. And it's not enough to just know how to find a perfect fifth really slowly. You want to be able to do it quickly because basically you're adding on from everything that you've already learned so far. So if you don't have a strong foundation with how to get up to fifths, then adding sixths and sevenths is going to be even harder because you're going to have to count past that. What's a great way to practice? Well, I have for all these intervals, I've got practice videos up. And for some additional practice, you might try some other websites like musictheory.net or Theoria. A lot of these websites have kind of flashcard type things where you can go and they'll give you a problem to solve and you can say what type of interval it is. So you want to make sure you can do that really, really quickly. And then let's explore sixths and sevenths. The numerical side of things, like always, is pretty easy. And notice I'm not even putting a staff here again, or clef here rather. I can simply just count. Doesn't matter what the clef is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a type of sixth, right? And if I did something like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's a type of seventh. A shortcut that you might like to use is I always kind of skip by thirds. So for the sevenths, I'm starting on a line, I'm going up a line, up a line, up a line. Or if I was going from a space to a space, down a space, down a space, down a space. It's either that set of spaces or that set of lines, however you want to think about it. And the sixth is, remember we talked about fifths in the last video. Fifth would be up a space, and now we're just adding one more. Okay, that's a shortcut. If you'd like to just count it, you can do that too. If you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Also, one more shortcut. If you're super familiar with clefs, let's do a bass clef for this one. If you're really familiar with clefs, chances are you could identify an octave really quickly. So if you could identify, okay, this is an A really quickly, like we should be able to identify, and you know that this is an A, right over here, that would be the A, then one short of that is one short of an octave, right? So if it's less than an octave, it's a seventh, right? After 7, we get to 8. 8 is an octave. Okay, now what about quality? Well, when we talked about fourths and fifths, we had perfect and augmented and diminished. With sixths and sevenths, we're back to major and minor. And if you know about interval inversion, if you don't worry, but if you know about interval inversion, it's because it works the exact same way as seconds and thirds, which are also major and minors. These are the inversions of that. All right, so let's talk about the quality. I'm going to start a new thing over here, and we're going to start with, continuing on the bass clef, let's start with a perfect fifth, which is where we left off. Here's a perfect fifth, and I'm going to go 1/2 step higher than that. So I went from an an A to an E, now I'm going from an A to an F. That's a minor sixth. So in other words, if it's 1/2 step bigger than the perfect fifth, it's a minor sixth. 1/2 step bigger than that, and it's a major sixth. And let's just stop for a second and notice that I had to go from A to F sharp. If I had gone from A to G flat, that would technically be a seventh. So I don't want to do that. I want to go from A to F sharp. And by the way, while this is a seventh, it's not a seventh that we're going to commonly see. So most of the time when we see something like this, it's going to be a mistake. We're going to be going from here major sixth, because the next interval we want is a minor seventh. And in a minor seventh, it's also a 1/2 step larger than this. So that would be going from an A to a G, G natural, right? A 1/2 step bigger than that is a major seventh. A to G sharp, right? So getting up by 1/2 steps, you can see, just looking at the quality, the numbers rather for a second, we have a fifth, the next two are sixths, right? You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the next two are sevenths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 apart for those. And the quality increases as well, right? We go from perfect fifth, minor sixth, major sixth, minor 7, major 7. We're going to do a video of just practice for this, but before we do that, let's just try a couple here. So instead of doing identification, why don't we do this? I'm going to give you a starting note and see if you can figure out what the note should be that we're going to go up to. So let's say we start on, let's do a G. And let's say we're going to go up by a minor sixth. So see if you can think about that. We can start by thinking, well, what would just a sixth be above G? And don't worry about the quality yet. Well, we can count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to go to an E of some kind. Now, what kind of E is it going to go to? Well, let's take a look at our keyboard. Here's G. Up to D, that would be our perfect fifth, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, a half step bigger than that would take us to E flat, and that's what we're looking for because we're going up a minor six, a half step bigger than a perfect fifth, right? Minor six is a half step bigger than a perfect fifth. We're going to go up to E flat. Keep in mind, just a little review, I'm putting the flat on this side, even though I say, and it's a little confusing because I say E flat, and we're reading from left to right. Well, the way we write it looks like flat E. All right, let's try another one. Let's go down this time from F. Let's go down a major seventh. Well, we can start by just finding a seventh down from F, and I'll show you two ways to do that. You could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and find out that it's G. Personally, for me, it's a little faster to think, okay, well, an octave would have been F. One short of that would be a seventh, that would be G. Again, you could either count down 7, or you could go jump the octave. If you're really comfortable with note reading, jump the octave, make it one shorter, and you know that that's a seventh. All right, now a major seventh, there's two ways to think about this again. You could think like this, perfect fifth, go up a half step, go up a half step, go up a half step, go up a half step. But here's how I like to do it. An octave would be here, right? F to F. Get out of the way and do that again. F to F. A major seventh is just one half step shorter than an octave. So F to this black key over here, and I'm not going to call it F sharp because that would be an eighth. I'm going to call it G flat. We'll try a few more. Let's switch to the bass clef. How about a major sixth down from this note? Okay, there's an E. So we could count a sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is going to a G of some kind. And the major sixth should be basically a whole step bigger than a perfect fifth, right? So if here's our E, perfect fifth would be down here to the A. A whole step larger than that would be a G. So it's just a G. We don't have to change anything. How about if we start on this note and we go up by a minor seventh? I'm going to use my trick. A C to a high C, that would be an octave. One less than that would be a seventh of some kind. So a C to a B something. Okay, now we're looking for, I haven't put it here, but this is an octave, which is a perfect eighth. Now we're looking for a whole step smaller than an octave, right? Than a perfect eighth. So an octave would be from C to C. Here's C, here's C. A whole step smaller than that would be B flat. And we'll do one more here. Let's go from A and let's go up by a minor sixth. We can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That brings us to this interval right over here. And now let's take a look. A minor sixth should be a half step bigger than a perfect fifth. So a perfect fifth would be from A to E, going up by one more half step to F. That gives us minor sixth. Don't have to change anything there. All right, there's going to be a whole other video with just practice questions, but if you want to do another practice right now, why don't you answer this question in the comments, and I'll let you know if you get this right. What is a major sixth up from a D? What is a major sixth up from a D?
If you found that video helpful, please click the subscribe button below to find more videos just like it.